So is making interventions as simple and effective as possible the right way to go? Is that what students will benefit from the most?
If students are not succeeding at their age standardized levels, having done tests or through formative teacher assessment, making the intervention work accessible to them, having a safe entry point from which you then stretch them is really key. There's no point over-facing students who already probably know that they are not meeting their age expected standards or they are not comfortable with their learning. There's no point over-facing them with things that are too complex. Providing them with a cognitive framework whereby the amount of knowledge that they are expected to work with is at an appropriate amount, providing them with cognitive frameworks where their minds are prepared for the learning before they are expected to dive into it. So there is elements of talking about the learning, of finding routes into unfamiliar topics that will work at the student's level, rather than just dealing, as Naomi's already explained, just dealing with concepts that they didn't understand in class in a very similar way to in class. This method breaks it down into clearly achievable steps so the students know exactly what they are doing it and can learn to take the processes that they have learned in the intervention to actively use in the classroom.
Marie, you mentioned earlier that you would have loved having a resource like this when you were a teacher. What practical tips could you deliver today that will help teachers know how to use interventions to benefit this age group?
I guess it's grouping your students in terms of either similar abilities and learning approaches. Generally, I would have tried to work in small intervention groups with, if I'm lucky, no more than 4 students at one time, so that you can clearly interact with each of the individuals, because these are people who will have individual needs rather than working as a complete class. Access to bodies of material is key, and finding materials that have a kind of hook in there for your learners is essential. Asking students who don't like reading or won't read, I mean, we're dealing with individual personalities, and there's a whole breadth of things that teenagers would rather be doing with their time potentially than doing what I need them to do in the classroom. So having interventions with those kinds of hooks in is essential, so that the students aren't resistant to the learning before they get started with it.